President can approve its release for contingent expenses. Because it should be new or urgent expenses,
Tama po,
but not confidential expenses.
Madam Speaker, Your Honor, tama po yung contention nyo. But kung sinasabi natin na confidential expenses, is a sub-account po ito ng contingent fund natin. So when the request was made from the Office of the Vice President, itong confidential fund that is contained under the contingent fund is, sa accounting perspective po, ay valid po yon. And then, since there's a process sa pag-release ng fund, and according to our special provision, kailangan po ng approval ng ating presidente.
Alam natin yan, may approval of the President, paulit-ulit tayo dyan. But the fact is, my question is whether the President can approve a release from the contingent fund for confidential expenses of another agency or office.
Madam Speaker, Your Honor, yes po, as long
Yes.
as
Your answer is yes.
ma-qualified, ma-satisfy yung requirement na new and urgent activities or projects of the national government agencies. As long as the confidential expense, as long as the confidential expense is for new and urgent activity o project, pwede po. Ang prohibition lang po, it cannot be used for the purchase of motor vehicles or any improvements thereon. Madam Speaker, Your Honor.
How can new or urgent activities subsume expenditure for confidential funds?
Madam Speaker, Your Honor, when the request from the Office of the Vice President was made, it was evaluated by the Department of Budget and Management. And based on their evaluation, na-satisfy po yung requirement natin na it shall cover funding for requirements of new and urgent activities. Kaya po, nung na-satisfy niya, nirecommend ng DBM sa Office of the President na i-release itong fund or confidential fund from the contingent fund that was classified as a confident. Actually, Madam Speaker, Your Honor, in the SARO, hindi po siya nakalabel as confidential fund but good governance fund, Madam Speaker, Your Honor.
I beg to disagree. The purpose of the SARO is to cover financial assistance, subsidy, and confidential fund per Office of the President's approval. But in the SARO itself, it did not specify what amount should go to financial assistance, what amount should go to subsidy, and what amount should go to confidential fund. Consequently, when the Office of the Vice President received the SARO, it used the release or fund transfer entirely for confidential funds because she requested for confidential funds. My next question is, can an agency which has no allocation for confidential funds be the recipient of a release or transfer from the contingent fund upon the approval of the President, even if allocation for contingent fund, there is a zero allocation, just like in the 2022 General Appropriations Act for the Office of the Vice President, there is no single centavo of appropriation for contingent fund. As a matter of fact, the then incumbent Vice President Leni Robredo, did not request for that contingent fund. So the clear intention of the Congress is not to allocate any amount of contingent fund in the office of the President. When this fund was unloaded in the amount of 125,000 to the office of the Vice President for contingent fund expenses, it was a derogation of the power of Congress because Congress did not allocate any appropriation for a contingent fund in the office of the Vice President in 2022. Would you agree with that? Or you don't have to agree, but that is my position and I would like to make that clear and manifest. Has revealed two overriding facts. One, the fund was released with the funding source of the contingent fund, which cannot be utilized without the approval of the President. Number two,
alamin natin ang mga programa at aktibidades ng mga kinatawan sa pamumuno ni Speaker Ferdinand Martin FMR Romualdez, Kamara, House of the People, tuwing Sabado alas 6 hanggang alas 7 ng umaga at replays tuwing Linggo alas 6 hanggang alas 7 ng gabi dito lang sa FMR Quezon 94.3, ang inyong favorite music radio.